Hey, welcome back, everybody. What we're going to do today is talk about and apply some good information. And what is that? It's socialization. All right, so we're thinking about socialization as socialization to objects, to sounds, to people, to touch, right? To go into the vet, to places, right? To go into the groomer, go into the shower, anywhere that you guys are going to be where there's going to be some type of stimulus. We want to think about socialization of all things. For some, it's going to be a challenge for socialization of people, or some it might be socialization to thunder. That is the challenge. All right, but what it is it's important to remember that whether you're talking about socialization to objects, places, sounds, all right, anything that's not alive, what we're going to do is develop a cue that is going to be, what is that? All right, that will be the cue. We got a lot of bugs out here today. I'm sure some of you got that where you are too. All right, so what is that? That is the cue that we're going to give whenever there's something new that we want to introduce our puppy to or our dog. And then we want to remember that if it's something that is alive that we want to introduce our puppy or our dog to, we're going to say a new cue to distinguish living stimulus versus non-living stimulus. And that cue will be say hi. So we have what is that? And we also have say hi. All right? So you're not going to meet some new person and saying to your puppy, what is that? Okay. So we just have something to distinguish there. What we're going to do when we give that cue is we're going to start giving feedback after we give the cue. We'll start to give good feedback about how things are going. If we say, what is that? And our puppy or dog steps backwards or wants to disengage, maybe they want to go and hide behind you or go into another room if they have the ability to do that. Well, what we want to do at that point is ignore them. We don't want to tell them anything negative because we want them to get used to the object or person or whatever. So we don't want to correct them and make them feel more uncomfortable than they already do. That's why they're disengaging, because they don't feel comfortable. And then if they engage with the object, and I'm talking about anything other than retreating, going and hiding, showing some type of disengagement or fear, if they go ahead and they move towards the stimulus, if they look at the stimulus, if they smell towards the stimulus, if they show anything other than retreating, we want to tell them good job. And the more engagement that they show, the higher the level of praise. All right? While they go through the progression, if you get a dog that you go ahead and you turn on an object that makes sound, and your dog didn't want to go near it at all, and now all of a sudden is going towards it, we want to praise them, even if they just step a foot towards it. But if they get closer and closer, praise them more accordingly, with more intensity. And if it's something that they're more comfortable with, that they're really fine with this thing that I'm introducing them to, well then you don't really have to praise them quite so excitedly. Maybe you're just like, hey, you're used to it already and good job. You start to tone it down a little bit. All right? So if you follow that code of no feedback if your dog disengages, and positive feedback if your dog engages in any way, then we want to go ahead and know that the dog is starting to learn. I don't know what that thing is, and I don't feel comfortable with it, whatever objects you're introducing or people, whatever. But when I hear them, my owner or my family member, give me a cue, what is that, or say hi, I do know what that means. And I do feel comfortable with that cue. And if I follow the cue and I start to engage, I get positivity and less discomfort. All right? That doesn't mean that it always goes that easy. All right? Because sometimes we need to motivate our dogs with treats. Okay? I'm not a big advocate for treats, but I do think that they have their place. If I want to go ahead, we have a power washer behind us over here. Murphy is not a fan of the power washer, let me tell you. And as it turns out, we had our house power washed today. So, perfect opportunity. He was kind of hiding all day, right? Letting him just go through it, doing his thing that he always does when that happens. And now what's happening? He's going ahead and getting introduced to the nemesis. All right, so we don't want to pick something that was really easy. You want to start with things that are easy. You really do. I don't recommend starting with the thing that your dog is most afraid of. Build a foundation about what it means to give that cue, what is that, and say hi with easier things. If you were doing say hi, for example, you could do that with a family member that your dog already enjoys being around. If you're going ahead and introducing new objects, you could introduce baby toys or things that don't really make sounds. All right? So keep all those notes with you. All right? Build a foundation, add in more intensity, make it more difficult. Follow the cues, and then give the appropriate feedback. All right? One other thing to point out, I'm starting with something that's more challenging, but that doesn't mean that I have to go all in. You know what? I'm going to power wash. I'm going to turn it on. I'm going to start moving it around. You know, first repetition, I start moving this around and turning it on. He's probably going to not want to be near it very much. All right, but if I go in a manner that is an evolution of degrees of difficulty increasing, now what do I have is step one. How about just going near it when it's off? Step two, introduce another part of the power washer. Because there is a power washer, and then there's the hose, and there's the spray gun as well. So I could introduce the different parts of the thing that I'm introducing, and then I could start to introduce higher levels of degrees of difficulty. For example, turning it on, and then turning it on, and leaving it on a little bit longer, and maybe moving it around a little bit more. All right, so you go through those steps. Some of your allies here will be, as you're working, making sure that if I'm going to increase the degree of difficulty and I'm going to start to move the object around, and I'm going to turn it on and leave it on longer, even if I'm going to just turn it on initially, or I'm going to move it just a little bit initially, what I can do is I can have Murphy at a distance where he could feel more comfortable. He's not going to feel really comfortable, but he'll feel more comfortable than if he's standing right beside it. I lift it up and I start spraying. Okay? So at least he can see that spray from a distance. And then as soon as I do the spray, what can I do next? I can stop spraying. I can stop moving it around. I can go ahead and put the equipment where it's as least threatening as possible and have him approach it after he just experienced some discomfort with it. Okay, you'll see what I mean. How about this, though? So neutral if he disengages. We don't praise him. We do praise him if he engages. All right. What about if he barks? What about if he bites at the object? You know? What if he starts scratching at it? And you didn't want him doing that? That's the exact same thing that you would do for any behavioral correction. Because it's one thing if he retreats, but if he retreats and he's barking, he should be corrected. All right? Or your dog should be corrected too. Anything that you don't want your dog doing, if they're doing it when they're showing fear, that's not allowed. That's going to be a correction. Okay? So what we're going to do, I'm going to stand on up, and I'm going to take Murphy on over to the object while it's not on. All right? I'm going to introduce the main piece of equipment, and then I'm going to introduce the hose and the gun. All right? So you'll see. What is that? Side note, I don't want to be saying to him, "What is that?" All right? What is that? You don't want to do it like that. Just say it, "What is that?" All right? Something with less urgency, or something that's going to startle somebody. You know, we want less urgency. All right? So let's see what we got. You ready, mister? Meet the nemesis? Let's find out, huh, bud? You're a good dog. And by the way, you don't have to do obedience because we're not doing obedience right now. We're doing socialization. So we're walking on over, and we'll see what other tips we can throw in. Because if he doesn't want to go over to it, I'm going to use the cookies. If he doesn't want to go over for the cookies and he's like, no way, not going to happen, I feel too uncomfortable, I'm not going over, well then we have another technique where we use leash pressure, kind of like we've been doing with the sit and the down. Like we'd lift straight up, push down on his back end, and we'd increase the pressure for sit. And then once he sat, we'd release all the pressure. Or for the down, where we'd put pressure on his shoulders and his collar. We'd start to apply the pressure, and then when he started to go into that command, we would release all the pressure. So if he does not want to go over there for any cookies or any encouragement, then I would use leash pressure. I would start to pull him gently towards the object, and I would increase my pressure with my leash, as you can see right here. I would be encouraging him the entire time. So it would be, here you go, boy. You can do it, buddy. You can do it, buddy. You're a good dog. Here we go. And that right here, you can see my leash is tight. The moment that Murphy, here's Murphy, he starts to move forward, you can see the leash loosen up. All right? And I might be pulling at 20 or 30 pounds of pressure. There might be a ton of pressure on there. All right? But that's what it takes to get over this. All right? If your dog is totally against going to meet that object, you want to use leash pressure when you have to use it. All right? So here we go. You ready, bud? Here you go, pup. Nope. If he cuts me off, remember, if I'm walking, he's never allowed to cut me off. He's never allowed to pull. What is that? Hey, what is that? Good boy. That's a good boy. Good dog. Yeah, good boy. You can crawl around it. What a good boy. Very good boy. And how about this? I mute my voice. Why? Because he stepped away from it. He's not showing fear there, but he's not showing engagement, right? We want him to be walking towards it, spending time with it while we're praising and giving him that good, positive feedback, all right? Oh, what is that? Good boy. Look at this, too. Think about this. Another piece attached, waving all around. Maybe you have something like that. You can keep that on, or I just went to highlight and it fell off. Here we are. What is that? Good boy. Tapping the whales. Good boy. You're a good dog. Way to go, buddy. Good puppy. And part of him might be like, I don't know what I'm doing, by the way. I don't know what's going on, because it's his first time doing it. So he might not 100% know what he's even being praised for. But after you introduce 10, 20, 100, 1,000 new objects that you've gone ahead and said, what is that? Or say hi. All of a sudden, he's like, anytime I hear that, I just go check that thing out. Or if I see a person, initially I felt uncomfortable with, now all of a sudden I hear say hi, I just go over to them. And it's just a conditioned thing at that point. And he feels really good about it. Yeah, good boy. So I'll take him away and take him back over again. Tap on the wheels a little bit. What is that? Hey, what is that? You good boy. You're a good dog. You're a good boy, buddy. You can do this with a vacuum. What is that? Good boy. Yes, you are a good boy. Good boy. You can do it with a vacuum. You know, let's start off with easy things. And how about this here? What is that? Good boy. Yeah. And then this here, I can have him step over. Yeah, good boy. And then go right back to it so that you can continue that praise. Good boy. I'm praising him there for stepping over it, and then I'm getting him back to it. And look at right now, he's standing over this here, spray gun. And start to lift it up, moving the hose around a little bit, moving the gun around. Good boy, what is that? Yeah. Good dog. You're a good dog, buddy. Yeah, good. Good boy. Very good boy. Very good boy. I am going to turn this on with me and Murphy closer to it. But remember the good notes that you got from earlier. I'm challenging him a little bit so that you can see somebody who's showing fear. It's amazing that he's even coming over to this right now, because he really doesn't like the power washer. All right? So I'm going to turn this on. Remember, when you turn yours on, start with easier things and turn it on or challenge in an appropriate way where you have somebody else maybe hold your puppy or dog 20 feet away so that they have distance as they're out. Yeah, what is that? So I'm going to turn it on right here. What is that? Good boy. What a good boy. What a good boy. And how about this too? What a good boy. Yeah. Yeah, good boy. Very good dog. He gets a little something there. A little added benefit. Alright? Something to point out too is some of your dogs, if they're really afraid of something, they won't even take the cookie. They're like, I'm too nervous. I don't want to go ahead and have a cookie right now. So be aware of that. There you go, boy. Good dog. Good boy. Yes, you are. Good boy. Yeah, what is that? Good dog. Good. Yeah. Good boy. Very good boy. Very good. What is that? Good dog. And I can keep on peppering in that code, that cue. What is that? You heard me say it repeatedly. But I'm telling him, good job, way to go. What is that? As he's showing the appropriate response. And when he first backed up, you'll see him back up right here. Good boy. What is that? Good dog. Hey, good boy. Very good boy. Really great. Good boy. And keep in mind, too, is that this does look very easy. Like, wow, I thought that he was afraid of that. Why isn't he showing that he's afraid? If you're paying attention to all that, that he's afraid of this, and here he is interacting with it just fine as if he's been introduced to it before. He hasn't. But what has he been introduced to? Trusting me, following me, thinking about what he's doing. The code, the positive and the negative, the encouragement, all the things that we do during training has a residual effect on other things that you'll do. Like when you're working on behaviors, your dogs will learn quicker about what to do and what not to do. When you're working on socialization and introducing new people and objects, your dogs will follow your code. And he knows when he hears good boy, he's doing something right. He might not know exactly what he's doing right, but he knows that he's doing something right. Good puppy. Yes, you are. How about now if we go to, what we're going to do is, we're going to turn it on. This time we're going to leave it on a little bit longer. I've been turning it on and shutting it right off. So this time I'm going to turn it on a little bit longer. And by the way, I did introduce movement with the hose and the spray gun, but I haven't moved the unit around. All right? That's another thing to point out. Good boy, buddy. I can crouch right here. So as he can see too, I'm in a vulnerable position too. And, you know, I'm vulnerable as far as he's concerned. But then when he sees this goes on and I don't get all moving around and what, then he can say, oh, well, why don't I just do what William's doing? Stay near it. Maybe he'll back up there. You can see him right there a little bit. Yeah, you're a good boy, buddy. Good boy. Release pressure. Good boy. Very good boy. Did he step back after he took the cookie? Good dog. Yes, you are a good boy. Yes, you are a good boy. Very good dog. What do you think his stress level was at that point? He's like, I don't want to go near it. I've been near it enough times. It's still on. It's freaking me out. I want to back up. And then all of a sudden it shuts off. He reaches in for the cookie. He gets the cookie. It shuts off. So doesn't all the positive feedback as he backs up. He starts to move forward. I start to tell him, good job. Great work again. This time here, I'm going to stand up. And actually, we're going to go ahead and turn the hose on. All right? Let's go turn the hose on. Boy, what is that? Good boy. So we've got it all powered up now. We've got the water, the power. Now it's time to go ahead, turn it on, and give a little blast to the water. All right? New degree of difficulty. All right, I'll just go ahead. Actually, I'll keep that in my right hand so that I don't have him pull me and the spray on with my left hand that's holding the leash. Good boy, buddy. What is that, good boy? What is that? Good. What is that? Good boy. Very good dog. What is that? I'll just leave this right here for him. Good boy. Actually, let's pick it up. Good boy. Very good. How about another one? We'll vary the response a little bit. Good boy. Very good boy. What is that? Good dog. Where did he go? Right back to the unit. Like, hey, there's something there. I want to go back there. Good dog. How about we tell him that he's right? Good dog, buddy. Good puppy. Good puppy. Yes, you are a good boy. Yeah. I'm moving it further away from him this time. The sound is right beside him. What is that? Just a little bit back up. Good dog. Way to go. I'm going to feed some slack there, too. Feed it right over. If he pulls, remember, I'm going to correct him. What is that? Good boy, buddy. Good dog. Very good dog. Yes, you are a good boy, Murphy dog. Very good. So I'm going to give him a little bit more praise because I like what he's doing. Keep in mind, he does something wrong, I'll go ahead and give that correction. Good boy, checking out the hose. Like, good boy. Yeah, what is that, good boy? You're a good dog. Yeah, what is that? Good buddy, huh? When it comes to moving the object, just like moving the hose, first I'm lifting it straight up. All right, you guys saw me a moment ago. I moved it over like this. I don't really want to move it towards him. All right, so if I move this, I want to move it away from him, or I want to move it laterally to where he's located. I don't want to move it towards him. I'll move it towards him right now, and you'll see him backing up. Oh, actually, he did pretty good there, but he did yield to it, okay? So keep in mind, when you start to move things, you want to move them away from them. Good boy. How about that? Good boy. What a good dog. You're a good dog, buddy. Yes, you are a good boy. How about this? Let's go ahead and go for the full on. All right, so it's going to be moving this guy around, spraying this, and just moving where I take this whole unit. If Murphy's here, I want to move it that way. If Murphy was there, I'd want to move it this way. Do I want to move it a lot? Not really. I just want to introduce him to, hey, it's all moving now. It's just moving a few feet, it's staying on for a moment. All elements are going, just the degree isn't where it's fully powered and we're going to do a full project with it. All right? Good boy. Let me dig out my leash a little bit here. Maybe move my collar to the 12 in case he pulls. I've been nailing mostly the whole time. All right, so get ourselves up. And I'll go ahead. To make it a little bit easier, as I move this away from him, I can even have Murphy outside of myself and the equipment. So he has a little bit of ease. Because it's going to get me, if it's that threatening, it will get William before it gets me, right? So let's find out. You're a good dog. Let's just go ahead. I'll feed some slack for him right there. I'll hold on to both pieces just like this. And then what is that? Good boy, puppy. Good dog. Very good boy. Very good boy. Yeah, bud. How about this too? Little jackpot. We're going to keep it on. I'm going to move it around a little bit. I'm going to move it away this way here. And I've got a whole bunch right here for him. Kind of a little jackpot moment. All right. Good buddy. Yeah. I'm encouraging him. Here we are. Hey, bud. Attaboy. Good dog. Attaboy. about I turn my hand a little bit? What is that, good boy? Yes, you are a good dog. All right, so I moved it around a little bit. Then I stopped it. I had it on the full time. You could see his reluctancy. I shifted my position multiple times. I even went from holding my hand, nope, to shifting it like this to see if that could help get him to feel a little bit more comfortable. All right, so I want everybody to keep in mind, I was shifting my position around, doing some encouraging, right? I was encouraging him at times because he wasn't really fully moving away from it. He was like, I want to go towards it. I'm kind of trying to get a nice position that I feel comfortable with. He wasn't retreating away from it, but he kept on, I'm there and then I'm not. And I'm telling him, here you go, bud. I'm not praising him. And I'm not totally ignoring him there because he wasn't showing fear and disengagement. But what I'm doing is I'm doing my best to reposition myself and move around and use those cookies appropriately to go ahead and get him to go and have a breakthrough where he goes in for it. Something that he was not doing there at the end because it was at a higher level of difficulty. This has been a long video, all right? To conclude with this point, all right, I'd watch this video again, all right? That's not the point to conclude with, but I, as a dog trainer, this is so important, all right? Because I get more dogs that are fearful, all right, that spend their entire life being in fear of something that we could have helped them with, and they could have been totally free from that fear if they did some proper socialization feedback. All right, when you look at this whole thing that we did today, this exercise, this application, I want you to compare what we did today and our foundation of communication that we're building today to this. Somebody walks into a vet or a firework display on the 4th of July or a thunderstorm outside of their house, big one comes through, their dog starts to shake, or go and hide. Some dogs have hid in bathtubs and closets and under the beds and everything in between. Poor things. And what happens is we start to feel really bad for them, right? Because we don't want our dog to feel like that. So what do? It's okay. It's okay, baby. It's okay, right? A lot of people do that. I know that I was doing that before I was a trainer. And when I would do that, I would be pouring out my heart to my dog. I just want you to feel comfortable. I don't want you to be afraid. There's nothing to worry about. But when I was doing that, this is praise right here that we were given. Good dog. But when we start to pour our heart out like, baby, oh, puppy, it's okay, it's okay. I mean, that might be like level 20 praise, right? And the dog is like, man, I don't know what's going on, but I'm getting a lot of good positive feedback right now. This is the best way to survive the situation, and the benefits are pretty good, right? So be aware. It's okay. That is not the way to do it. We don't want to praise somebody that's showing fear or disengagement. We want to be neutral and still encourage them like, hey, face your fears. You can do it, pup. But then we got to be mute. For the most part, 99% of the time, if they're showing fear, you should not be saying anything. No, it's okay, or good dog, right? Let them face it. And then if all else fails, a little encouragement. All right? The last point about that is, if somebody's always saying it's okay whenever you're showing fear, if you are the dog, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay becomes a cue for the fact that something is stressful. Some type of stimulus is stressful, or there's stress in the environment. So you want to keep that in mind, that you could actually trigger your own dog's getting reinforced with the message that we actually want to counter. All right? I hope this helps everybody out. I know this is a long video, and I really appreciate the ones that are going ahead and staying until the end, and hopefully that's everyone. This video might be the most important video of the entire program. All right, so complete the whole circle there. So keep in mind, this is very important. Go introduce some objects. Start off with easy things. and then increase the degrees of difficulty in a way that is progressive and more challenging. If you find that you hit a threshold that you're having a really hard time with, use your cookies or use your leash tension. And if it's still too difficult, back off on the intensity and build a stronger foundation. See you guys tomorrow. Thanks so much for being here. We'll see you guys soon.